What's happening, everyone? I'm just going to walk through the week of price action for the week. It was the 10th to the 15th of June. So week start here, weekend. Um, Very interesting week. No A plus setups for us in terms of like risking your entire account. This is, I'm in drawdown, you know, 8% on a funded, and I'm only going to take the setups that have the highest probability. There was no setups like that this week. They were all continuations. A couple of these continuations were called to the group. I will walk through them just for the sake of price action this week, just to be real and upfront with what we've taken, what we looked at, but understanding that we didn't have any of our bread and butter entries. These were more difficult entries and had a lot more confirmations that were needed in order to take them. So we started off the week. Coming in, we actually came down to this hourly point here. I reckon it's an hourly point. We had our inducement into this point. This is where one of our subs would have taken place. It fit all of our roles. There was just no entry. So very, very good swing position trade entry here, just covering that inducement point. And then the point there, 14 pip stop loss, nice and simple. So if you're a swing trader, this week was great for you, targeting the highs, which that was reached. So coming into Monday, not a lot here. We did actually come into, there's a 30-minute point and an hourly point that sits here. Unfortunately, this was disregarded and didn't give us an entry simply because price came into a supply before coming back to that demand to give us our entry. So I won't go on the lower time frames and have a look at that, as there was no entry that presented itself that was willing for us to take. So coming down, came into here, like I said, pushed up and broke that internal structure. So basically from this point, we can expect that price is now going to retrace in this big news week here that was created last Friday, or at least come back up to the top here. Now we are bullish on most time frames and we've taken out those highs now. So it was expected at the time to come back up. There's equal highs sitting here with this line to come and take that liquidity, possibly induce it like it has, and then melt from there. So coming into the week, we're in a really good position to understand that we were buying. This for us is just a point of a trap. We would never set a limit here with our rules, and that was discussed at the start of the week with the group. So we could come and target this point, which funnily enough, Muse is what actually pushed that up here. So coming in, buying Tuesdays here. Coming into London on Tuesday, I will jump down to the lower time frames. We had an inducement into a mitigation directly on London Open, which gave us an entry. This one was called as well. There was this small one here, which was a break even for myself, and then took that second entry there, which targeting the highs 1 to 8, but ended up running 1 to 12. Like I said, not A plus, a lot more confirmations needed to be met here, and definitely more of a difficult entry with a different risk management profile compared to what we would normally see. So there wasn't 1 to 5 full take profit. For this, it was a 1 to 3 and then 1 to 10, which was obviously hit. Price then came down in York session to our preferred entry and our preferred demand for that session anyway. It didn't give us an A plus entry, but did give a continuation entry based off here. We didn't set this one. This one we weren't looking at. EU actually gave a better entry. So if you want to go look at that with Dylan running over EU gave a better entry at the time, but this was a valid entry to set based on some rules we have, which ran 1 to 11 and then further actually ran like 1 to 50, I believe. So apart from that, very, very difficult entries to catch. Definitely something that needs to be back tested in terms of these type of entries. But both were valid. But like I said, nothing A plus that, in drawdown 9%, 8% worth of risking heaps of your account on things like that. So different risk profile, different approaches to these type of trades in the market, and definitely not something you take while you're down. But both of these were talked about. This one was called and EU was called at the time. We then broke structure again. So this was just telling us coming into Wednesday, Asian session obviously building up, doing its thing, that now we were working from this low to this high, understanding that this is an inducement point and that we may actually come down to this point like this, come down here to buy up like that. So that's what we were looking at. That didn't end up happening. We actually end up having another trade called here. I will go on the lower time frame and show you the entry itself. But basically, once again, we had inducement on London Open. EU presented a nice entry as well. It then gave us a lower time frame confirmation to enter. stop loss, 3 pip stop loss, targeting the highs. And as you can see on the 15-minute, there wasn't anywhere else to actually get in. So understanding our targets, you could have targeted the top here, which price did end up taking out with news. So most people were out. If you held through news, it was a great trade. Most were out anyway. I mean, before news even tapped in, you're sitting at 1 to 7, and this thing ran. So if you're in this and you were holding around news, you were pretty much at full position anyway. So there was no need to risk that extra percent. Like 1 to 7 full take profit is fine. I know some did take a fair bit off and then target these highs here for a 1 to 24, or just wait for news to stop, which was a 1 to 40. So a very good week in terms of continuations and understanding where price is heading for the week. Lower time frame confirmations are a bit difficult. We did run through these in the group, and all of these trades as well have been broken down. So pushed up. Then to obviously coming into Wednesday and Thursday, sorry, you can expect the price is going to be slow. It's going to have to correct itself. We could continue to buy. You've got this point here, and once again, the extreme point here to look at. Only thing being is this extreme point holds a lot of retail liquidity under it. That structural liquidity as well is also very high there and meaningful, especially after taking this liquidity. And it's in the extreme of the daily. You can expect the price coming to that extreme of the supply of the daily is going to give a bigger action. We had more news release here and a bit of news here as well. So basically from then onwards, it was continuations to the downside. This one was called in the group as well, 1 to 7. Some took this, I myself took EU. Very, very, very hard entry in terms of using structure. It was more just lower time frame entries being up for the week. This is one you could take. Like I said, no A plus entries for us. As in 10 out of 10, like I said, would risk your account being a drawdown. Push down, nothing here, built up liquidity, nothing again, looking for buys here, nothing, looking for buys here, also nothing presented. So this was more just if you caught the sell, which there wasn't a valid entry in my opinion, then you would obviously catch that to the downside. Now coming into the end of the week, we obviously had this point, which we were looking at a couple of weeks ago. It's an hourly point that sits here. Price actually tapped into this and did give an entry. We had heaps of people in the group catch it. We had obviously our lower time frame confirmations, break up, break down. We then had a lower time frame entry model play out here. So this would be your entry basically here. Would be one you'd have to wait a lot. Like I said at the start, lots of news and lots of movement this week. So you can expect that with that lots of movement, that towards the end of the week, the volatility is going to be low. There's not a lot of money left in the market, is how I like to describe it. Like it's only going to move so much in a week. And it's moved, I'd hate to we'll have a look how many pips it's moved up and how many pips it's moved down. It was quite a big week. So if we just take, from this low here to this high here, it moved 170 pips up and then 180 pips-ish down. So this entry being valid, basically just target either this supply point here or the high of that supply where you would still be in this. And more than likely price will take this out coming into the new week when price obviously starts up again. So this entry was probably the best entry in terms of confirmations, positioning, liquidity taken. All of the continuation trades in the week were quite hard to catch. All of them were called and where they were walked through in the pre-market analysis. And then this one was actually taken live, I believe. And this one here, there is a small one here we looked at, just couldn't get an entry in. So this one fits all of the rules, fits our entry model to an A plus to a T. So you would still be running in this, or we have a protocol for this entry 1 to 5, which is hit there, which has an 80% win rate. So nice and easy there. We'll see what this week holds. I'm expecting price to push back up. Realistically, if you were to wait all week and look for those A plus entries, you'd have one on EU and then this one on GU, continuations and so on and so forth. Like I said, a lot more risk towards them and with them. So this entry here would be the one you wait for. You catch a 1 to 5, which means you'd be up 5%. So slow week, but solid week in the end, which just takes that patience and staying on top of where price is and where you want it to go. So hopefully that all makes sense. Any questions, drop them below. First link in the description, you will see to join the group. And if you join, we will see you in there. Let's have a good week. And yeah, I'm keen to look at GU at the end of this week. Thanks.